Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Again, another First Division preview show. Gavin Woods, welcome again.
Hi Keith, welcome to you. How are you keeping?
I'm good. Not good after last Friday night's result, but however, we'll soldier on with the First Division, never mind the FAI Cup. We'll start with the league leaders, your own team, Cork City, at home to Athlone. And look, Cork are one clear and they've a game in hand. Tight win in Cove in the Cup. Let's be honest. I didn't see any of the highlights, but a 1-0 win, like you would have expected Cork to possibly score more goals. But Cork, apart from the Stoke City friendly, are unbeaten in 22 games in the league. It's a fantastic run they're on. A couple of draws thrown in there. The last two games against Athlone, 2-1 in Lissy Woolen, which was a tight enough game, I believe, and then a 4-1 reversal in Turner's Cross. There's probably an easy win ahead, do you think, for Cork City?
You know me, Keith, when it comes to things like this, I'm afraid to say that because then it ends up being a sticky subject. But I would be hoping for 3 points on Friday night. Like Colin Neely made a couple of changes to the team for the Cup game on Sunday, which I thought would have backfired on him. But I suppose, look, it's probably been unfair to the lads that came in. But the lads that came in done a super job. And like even Jimmy Cochran alone there in goal he made a couple of super saves, so it was fantastic to see that. You know, if David Harrington left or got injured, and touch wood that he doesn't, but if it did happen, you know, that he's a great replacement there anyway. So like I suppose look, he'll probably make a couple of changes again for Friday night and freshen it up after last Sunday because it was a tight game and it was kind of exactly what I expected. So I suppose the most important thing for Friday night again is getting 3 points, and I mean, you know, that's the most important thing. Is just getting the 3 points, and like as I said, if we can win the league, you know, that's the first and most important thing. And look, performances, I'm not really worried about, but you know, that run is fantastic and fair play to the lads because I wasn't expecting that this season. So look, hopefully we'll pick up the 3 points on Friday night. That's what I'll be hoping for anyway, Keith.
Yeah, touching on Athlone briefly, they've lost Glenn McCauley, who's signed for Bluebell. He played for them in the Cup at the weekend. Even though he hasn't performed to his expectations, it's still a big loss. He's a big player, certainly in the First Division. Still no manager involved full-time with Athlone. The only thing with Athlone is they've scored in their last 8 games. So you know, they can't put the ball in the net. And is that a worry for Cork? Maybe if the game is tight enough up to 60, 70 minutes that Athlone might nick one and surprise some of the Cork faithful?
Oh, definitely, Keith. Look, it was like the Galway game and the cross, like the first 20 minutes looked like City were very nervous. I don't know, was it the crowd got the better of them? And like that, I suppose the game went on and I got frustrated with Cork City and they couldn't break Galway down. The same thing can happen Friday night against Athlone. I mean, if Athlone hold out till halftime and it's 0-0, it's a very dangerous game. And like, never let it be said when it comes to the First Division, anything is possible. But what you call it, I believe, has left him as well. Stephen Kenny, that played in midfield, that used to play with City a couple of years ago, he's gone as well. So he's a nice player for Athlone, but I believe he's gone too from him. So I think Friday night's the type of game that, you know, if City are professional about it, Keith, and they get on with it and they score early, I think I'd be hoping probably for a 2 or 3-0 win.
Yeah, I'm going to go probably a 4-0 win. I think Cork are too strong. Athlone bottom of the table still, so I think a 4-0 win for me. We move on to Galway against Wexford, and you know, when the Cork fans will have a close eye in this game because Wexford are on a good-ish run. They beat Sligo in the Cup at the weekend. I mean, they've won defeat in 9 games, and Ian Ryan has them playing pretty well. You know, they're going to teams and winning. They went to Waterford and won comfortably. So John Coffey will be worried here, will he?
I think he will, Keith. I think this is like the City game a couple of weeks ago. City beat them 1-0. The 3 games against Wexford have been very tight, Keith. And like, they're a team that play well. They have a nice you know, they've nice interplay in the top three there, in the front three. And like I would say, if John Caulfield, know the way he is, if John Caulfield came away with a 1-0 victory against Wexford, he'd be delighted, because this could be quite a sticky game, and I think it could be tighter than people will expect. Wexford are definitely going to give him a run for their money. I suppose, look, it's probably, without being disrespectful to Wexford, in terms of play style and playing style, I suppose, look, they'll be the same as Galway, but I just think Galway have that bit of quality. And, you know, when you have the likes of Conor McCormick in midfield there, Keith, you know, he shows his quality when it needs to happen. And it's the games like this when he'll step up to the plate. And Dave Hurley is the same, who's been outstanding for him as well, alone. And not to mention the other players that are in the first 11. But I think this will be a very tight game. Like, if Wexford pull off a draw here, like, it would be a fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised. It would be a fantastic result for Wexford, but I just think Galway will just edge it a bit. I think they'll edge it by a goal, I think, myself, Keith.
Yeah, Galway, they're unbeaten in 5, scoring 14. Now 7 of those were against Bluebell in the Cup at the weekend. It's still a good win against whatever team you're playing. They signed Bastian Heary. Rob Manley has come in from Bray. He's off the mark with a couple of goals. Stephen Walsh is still banging them in up top. James Finnerty as well. So they've refreshed the squad. You know, I know they've lost Alex Murphy to Newcastle, but look, Galway, as I mentioned already, are a point behind, and you know they won't be expecting Athlone to get anything in Turner's Cross. So 3 points is a must here, because personally I think if they don't get anything other than 3 points, I think the league will be over, particularly with Cork having the game in hand.
Yeah, Keith, and I suppose, as I said, it's that type of game. Like I said a couple of weeks ago when City played Wexford away, I said, like, if City do win the league, that win against Wexford could be the game that I look back on and say that was the 3 points that done it from. And I think it's the same with Galway this weekend. If Galway want to win the league, I think this could be the weekend if they look back on, and if it does happen for them, that they look at this Wexford game and pick up the 3 points. The Bastian Heary signing is a very it's an interesting signing, for want of a better word. Like, the guy has abundance of quality, and I've said it, he's one of the best players I've ever seen in Turner's Cross. And for a fella that's probably, you know, I suppose when he's on it, he's unbelievable, but when he's not with it, like I'd say like up with the moon and the stars, I'd say. But I reckon John must have had a chat with him and said, look, there's an opportunity for you here to get your career back on track again.
Yeah.
If he gets it back on track, like, I mean, he is a baller, to be fair to him. Like, he's a fella I love. And you know the way when you look at a fella when he comes to your home ground and you're saying this fella has ability, you know, it's like I've seen before with, you know, Joseph Indore, you know, fellas that have played in the cross before. But Bastian here, he's one of these players. When he turns it on, he's a pleasure to watch. So it'd be interesting to see how it turns out for him. Like, but as I said, look, I'd say no better buy than John Caulfield to get the best out of him. You know, and he's a baller, to be fair to him.
Yeah, it's a funny one, because I know he had a bit of beef with John when he was at Waterford. Melee on the touchline or on the sideline. So he obviously could have looked to him. So, but as you said, a great signing. And I think it'll only boost Galway. They've good squad, and now Cork and Galway both have squads that can compete right to the end. I think it's going to go to the wire. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Galway win. It's funny. I think Galway, Sligo probably rested a couple at the weekend, and maybe that's why Wexford got the result they did. But I think Galway have too much about them, and I think they'll get a 2-1 win here. You go the same way, or are you hoping for a draw?
I don't know. I think, like, I have to be fair about it. I think Galway will just, again, it's like the City game against them. I think there'll be a goal in it. It'll either be 1-0 or 2-1. But as I said, I suppose, look, going back to the Bastian here, I think, as you said yourself, I'd say he must have given John a late Valentine's card or something in a box of chocolates for him to get back into the squad. But you know, I like that. Look, the strength and depth is there now. If he turns up for them, like, but a 2-1 victory to Galway, I think.
Cool. So Treaty against Waterford. Jesus, more Munster derbies in this league than you can throw a wet cat at. Sorry, Kurt Zuma. Treaty 4 wins in a row. They're on a reasonably good phase at the moment. They haven't conceded in those 4 games, and Enda Curran is flying for them. Dean George got a couple at the weekend as well. So, look, Treaty need to keep up the momentum. They're 3 points behind Longford and they're 3 points ahead of Wexford. So, not that they have to win this weekend, but it's probably a must not lose game. I know Waterford, they're not on a great run at the moment, so I think Tommy Barrett will have Treaty set up to at least frustrate Waterford. I know they're good going forward, but
yeah, I suppose. Look, and like, especially too with the likes of last weekend as well at the FAI Cup, when the you know, we'd say the bigger teams and the lesser teams, and they get the result that they want in the FAI Cup. It's a confidence booster no matter what. And I mean, like Waterford's result away to Pats was a huge result, to be fair to him. I can't pronounce that guy that's, you know, he's after joining him recently, who got 2 goals there for Waterford.
Me either.
yeah, John Murphy or something. But anyway, no, to be fair to him, look, he's banging in the goals since he joined. And, you know, the most important thing for Treaty, as you said, they are on form, but like Treaty will have to keep their attacking. We say they're attacking 5 for want of a better word. They're going to have to keep them quiet if they want to get a result out of this. But I think in this game, as tight as it's going to be, I probably will go with Waterford, Keith. I think they'll probably have too much for Treaty in this game. And look, to be fair to Treaty, as I said, look, they're on a bit of a run, but I just think Waterford will be just that bit. And again, it'll probably be a goal in it. Okay, I'm going to contradict myself here. There's a goal in it, but again, if Waterford score early, and as I said, that chap, sorry for the Waterford fans, I can't pronounce his name, but like if he scores early, like he seems to be banging in goals for fun. So if they get a goal or 2 early, it could be kind of similar to the Cork City season and Galway this year, when they were scoring against teams early, they were getting a couple of goals and they were killing the game. The same thing could happen against Treaty. But again, if Treaty frustrate Waterford, you never know.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw here. The reason, I know Waterford had a good result at the weekend against Pats, and absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Pats on the back of the European game. Again, there was a few players rested and whatever, but Waterford 3 defeats in 4. They've lost at home to Longford and to Wexford in that 4. They're kind of stuck in a moment almost. They're not going to catch Galway or Cork. They're not going to drop out of the playoffs. So we've discussed it many times. They're almost let their season fiddle out and prepare for a playoff almost.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, the most important thing for them, Keith, is that they keep the momentum. Like, if they do win it the weekend, they'll be keep the momentum for the playoff if it comes to it. Like, because you know, you're looking at them and they have the strength and depth. And like I say about them, like, you know, sometimes they get caught at the back. You know, it depends if Niall O'Keefe is there or not, if he's playing in front of the back 4, because he's a super player. But they're suspect to giving away goals, unfortunately, Waterford, and that's the way they have been. It depends if I suppose, look, it depends on the day if they're organised and that, you know, they'd be looking at they'd be too strong for Treaty. Would be saying a Waterford win, and I would go probably 3-1 Waterford here, Keith, myself.
I'm going to stick my neck on the line and say 1-1. I think it'll be a tight game. Tommy Barrett sides, they're dogged at the back. So, the last game of the weekend, Longford against Cove. Cove, let's start with Cove. Look, Cork City met them at the weekends in a tight cup game. But before that, they beat Bray 3-1, and it was Shane Keegan's first win as manager down there. It's the first league goals in 6 games, and they got 3. So their confidence will be on the up a little bit going to Longford on Saturday. They're 4 ahead of Athlone, and that's where they're at the moment. They're probably looking at it and saying, "Oh, we can't finish bottom, so we'll try and finish second bottom." So I don't know where I see this. Cove, as I said, they're on the up, so maybe they might sneak something in Longford.
I think they will, Keith. And like, I've watched them a bit since Shane Keegan took over, and to be fair, I kind of, you know, I was kind of doubting him, but since the Waterford game there a couple of weeks ago at home after that, and they got hammered, but what they've done since is, instead of going with a 3-5-2, they're gone to a 4-5-1. So what they're doing is something that they should have done already this season. They don't have the players for 3-5-2, Keith. Yeah. You know, let's call a spade here. You know, Cove don't have that. So what they done was, what Shane Keegan has recognised, that he's put players out there to the best of their ability in that position. So they've gone to a 4-5-1, and I think it's worked a treat from. like looking at last Sunday. And I know, look, they were going up their game against Cork City anyway, but they had chance.
Who impressed you last week for Cove? Was it the usual?
Dale Holland was superb in the centre midfield. Conor Drynan is it Conor Aaron Drynan? He was very good. James O'Leary there, it's my first time seeing him. He's only about, I'd say he's 18, Keith. He plays right midfield from a right winger as such. The guy has oodles of speed, but again, it's because of his age. Probably he'll learn in time. But like, this guy has potential. And then you know, they brought on Shawnee McGrath, Keith, last Sunday. They brought him on with 10 minutes to go, and he created so much in 10 minutes, beating players. He's only a tiny little lad, but he's a baller, like, to be fair to him. And I think, like, if Shane Keegan sees it, I think he should start him against Longford next Friday night. And as I said, I think what Shane Keegan seemed to have done with him, first and foremost, he seems to have got an organisation with him. And they seem to, you know, when I was watching the 3-5-2 before, they kind of didn't know what they were doing, with all due respect to Darren Murphy. And I don't know, was it just he didn't have the players, or players were injured, or look, something like that. But what Shane Keegan seems to have identified is that the 3-5-2 don't suit him, and the 4-5-1 does. And when they're attacking, they go to a 4-4-2, and then obviously that person who plays behind the striker drops into the 5 in the middle. And it's working a wonder for him. And I think, to be fair to him, I think they have nothing. Like, they're going up to Longford, obviously Cove are seen out the season. They're not going to, you know, they're not going to make a huge difference come the end of the league. So it's about gaining respectability and trying to create or trying to organise something for next season and see where kind of what stands from next season. To have the players, and I think, Keith, that they can go to Longford and get a result on Friday night. I really do.
Yeah, what makes me think the same is that Longford, they're Mr. Inconsistency this season. Like, they won away to Waterford. Yes, they lost at home to Athlone. They beat Galway at home, and they're hammered away at Treaty. Like, look, they've lost a couple of players, Ryan Graydon, but they've brought in a few players. Adam Verdon's come in from UCD. Keane Corbley's come in as well. They've brought in Darren Clark from Crumlin United. It bolsters their squad, but doesn't necessarily improve their quality, does it?
Oh, no, Keith. Yeah, like, as we've said this already, the likes of Ryan Graydon and, you know, Kieran Craven in midfield, or Darren Craven?
Darren Craven, yeah.
Darren Craven, my apologies. You know, like, they're quality players, you know, and I saw that myself this year out in the cross, but, you know, it's very hard. And this is with no respect to the fella that came in from Crumlin. You know, is he as good? Maybe he will be in time. But, like, when you need somebody to come into it, like a squad or a first 11, you need to come in and make an immediate impact. Whether the guy will do or not, I don't know. But, you know, you're losing a player of that quality who goes up to the Premier Division and will do a good job up in the Premier Division. He really impressed me against City this year. So it's bolstering the squad, and it's probably replacing players that left. But in terms of having the same quality, look, I don't know much about the guys that came in. But, like, you know, when you look at those results, Keith, like, they're the strangest results. You know, you go away and beat Galway, and then you get hockeyed by Treaty. It's so strange what's happening there. And that's why I think, in that sense, Cove can go up there and get a result up there. And I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw here, Keith.
Yeah, I'll go with a 1-1 draw, Gavin. Look, before we wrap up, the FAI Cup draw was made today. So just to discuss briefly the First Division clubs, Cork City have been drawn against Derry, Wexford against Dundalk, Galway UCD, Waterford away to Malahide, and Treaty away to Maynooth. The Cork-Derry game is a bit intriguing, isn't it? For a number of years, they were to and fro in the Premier Division, up towards the top of the Premier Division. There was a title decider in the Cross, I think it's 10, 15 years ago, is it?
2005.
That's Cork will bring a good travelling crowd with them, and I think they'll have a bit of a chance up there, will
they? It depends, Keith. And like I was saying this today, like, the great thing about this game for Cork City is it's going to be an experience for them, and it's going to see if they're up to, like, if the player, like, this is the perfect test to see the current squad. I suppose that Colin will look at it from a point of view and say, okay, these lads are going up here. These are the fellas I have. Which of you, can stand up for me and prove that you can play in the Premier Division next year if we go up? And that's the way he look at it, Keith. The great thing about a city of nothing to lose, and again, look, to be fair, there's a great kind of a camaraderie between City and Derry fans. When they go up there, it's always a great day out. And I've been to the Brandywell, fantastic people, fantastic stadium. City have nothing to lose going up there. They don't, and I think the pressure will be on Derry in this game. Derry might have too much from, we'll see. But as I said, it's a marker for City. Like when Colin puts out his 11 that day, he's going to look, or even the 16 that he brings up, or 17, whatever the squad, the first 11 and the subs, and he's going to go, all right, prove to me today that you can do it in the Premier Division if we go up, lads. And that's essentially what it's going to come down to. And City have nothing to lose in that game. So it's going to be an intriguing tie for Cork City, and I'm looking forward to it.
Dundalk will probably get down to Wexford and win. Dundalk are strong this season, although Wexford have it's good that Wexford are at home. They might put it up to Dundalk a little bit. Another intriguing game is Galway against UCD. UCD fighting it down the bottom. They're now off the bottom. Galway obviously fighting at the top of the First Division. I think I fancy Galway here. I think they'll have too much for UCD. I think they'll bully them. UCD are, even though they're a footballing side, they're small, they're young, and I think Galway will just bully them to death in this game.
To be honest with you, Keith, and with all due respect to UCD, I think this is going to be a comfortable win for Galway. I like when I saw the draw today, I said, Galway are the team. They have the squad, Keith, that it's like being in the First Division. It's very hard to get out of, but I think Galway have the strength to, if Galway go into the Premier Division this year, either winning it or through the playoffs or whatever happens, I think they're the team that would have the bet. I think they have a better strength and depth in Cork City, and are physically better than Cork City. And I think they'll just, as you use their own words, they'll just bully UCD. I could say it here now, I would be expecting Galway to win that by 2 or 3 goals. I think they'll be too good for UCD.
Interesting. And then obviously Malahide are home to Waterford and Maynooth are home to Treaty. Do you reckon there'll be a shock in either of those games?
Could be the Treaty game, the second game there, or who are they playing? Just say, Keith, sorry.
Maynooth University Town, yeah.
That's the thing with Treaty, Treaty could end up going into extra time and getting beaten on penalties, or they could end up getting 4 or 5 goals. that would sum Treaty season up in one there, as such as being such a topsy-turvy season for them. So out of those 2 games, that could be the game, that could be the shock game of the 2 of them. That's where I look with that game. Anything is possible with Treaty, but you on paper, look, you're looking and you're saying, Asher, look, it's 2 results there, 2 easy results for Waterford and Treaty, but depends on what Treaty turns up on the day.
Yeah, I suppose the good thing from the cup draw is that there'll either be First Division teams or non-league teams in the quarterfinals, so it's only good for the cup. Look at St. Francis in 1990 against Bray. Gavin, thank you so much for coming on. Lads, if you like the content, hit the bell notification. Let us know in the comments what your predictions are for this weekend, and we'll see you next week for the review show. Cheers again, Gavin.
Thanks, Keith. Thank you.